What if you could slide into 1,000 different worlds where it's the same year and you're the same person, but everything else is different? And what if you can't find your way home? Well, Robert Jeffries and I found the gateway. Now the problem is finding a way back home. This is Stumbling Through the Multiverse, a Sliders recap with Rain Coleman and Robert Jeffries II. What's up, y'all, and welcome back to none other than the official Sliders podcast review. Nobody is going to argue with us because who is honestly going to argue and say that this is not it? This is what it is. I'm reporting live from a cave. There's a dinosaur outside, but this is Stumbling Through the Multiverse podcast, hashtag STTM pod. I am your co-host, Crying Man Coleman, and I am joined by none other than the great, illustrious genius of a thought brain is out of this world, sci-fi master of the elements. What's up, Robert?
What's going on, man? I was like, maybe I should update mine to like some variation of cue ball to like 8-ball, and see if you're even able to post the episode on YouTube. They're like, oh no, I'm like, no, it's a Sliders joke, you know. But now I'm here, happy to be here, happy to be talking.
Good.
What is it? Jurassic Park meets the multiverse, right?
Man, say, yes. So we're on episode 7 of season 2. For those of you following along at home, be it podcast or visuals. In this episode, in Dino Veritas.
I think it's Veritas.
Yeah,
Veritas.
Yes.
That's the V word. IDV. This is that IDV.
I was like, what the hell? What the hell is it? But yes, that's what this is.
Yeah.
In this episode, Quinn faces a man-eating Allosaurus in an attempt to retrieve the timer. Now, again, I never watched these episodes until we're about to record, but this one I actually watched beforehand, and I was just like, okay, let me try something different. The episode, great, like, you know, whatever, we'll get into that. But I was like, who is coming up with things to script? Because I mean, that is a thing that happened.
Yeah.
But I was very shocked to see that this description focused so much on Quinn in this particular episode. I was like, this feels like wrong because that motherfucker was gone
for most of the episode, right?
Yeah.
And it's something I actually kind of appreciated after like 2 or 3 episodes of him being front and center. But the summary on IMDb is even worse because they well, here are all the plot points, you know, it's like 2 or 3 sentences. Like, I don't know if there's an art to writing a synopsis or a summary for the episode. I mean, the Sliders slide to a prehistoric San Francisco. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Hey,
this thing was like they go to a dinosaur preserve and this, and it's like, and then they mentioned the poacher, and I was just like, okay, this is a lot. This is a lot.
No room for a plot twist at all. Hell,
no. IMDb is like, no, you read this, it's done.
What's the point of watching it? What's the hell? You've read the episode, man. My initial thoughts, and I actually enjoyed this episode. To me, this episode felt like, and I know I've said it already, but like not X-Men playing baseball, but like a side quest that eventually probably leads into something bigger, you know, a few arcs down the road. But I enjoyed this episode. I ain't gonna hold you. I don't know if I get it a 10 out of 10, but I did enjoy this episode.
Yeah. Initial thoughts. This is probably, once again, I think I said this about what was the jail planet. It was one of the last 2 that we saw. This is going to be one of my favorites of this season. I I always believe like the first two seasons, even with our critiques that we had, they have some pretty solid and fun episodes, and this is one of them. So, yeah, this is one of them. So yeah, like it's one that stands out. This episode stands out more than a lot of other ones, because there are some that I just forget as soon as we, until we get to them. And I know, like in the later seasons, like if we get that far, I'll be like, "What the hell is this?" I was like, "Oh, okay, this is one where that happens." But this one is one that stands out partly because I remember when the commercials were coming on, it was a big thing to see like we were just going to say it, the dinosaur. There's one shot in particular that they use in the trailer in the opening of the show, opening credits of Rembrandt and the dinosaur off to the side. That one like gets a lot of like play in my head. So so this one, I'm glad I remembered it, but I'm also glad that it was good. So those are my initial thoughts. So,
well, y'all, make sure to use the hashtag STTM pod. Let us know what your thoughts are while we're going through this episode. And Robert, go ahead and take it away, brother. You got it.
Cool. So we start off on True Colors or Shining Through World or Truth Color World, whatever you want to call it. And the professor and Quinn are meeting up. They meet up at the park, which if you notice was it's probably been used in other episodes, but I know that the last one I remember was when they go to the world where the virus, I call it the Why the Last Man world. So where they drove the van through.
Oh yeah.
So I think this is that park.
Yeah.
This is that park. So they meet at this park in San Francisco, and you notice that the professor and Quinn are wearing these collars. And what it turns out is that people of this world have to wear these collars, and it forces everybody to tell the truth, because if you lie, then you get shocked. So they're getting ready to leave and shaking hands and like, let's get the heck up out of here because I'm tired of this. And I think even the professor says, is Miss Wade bringing the I think the clips or whatever, so they can get these things off their necks. So then what I love, my favorite part of this episode is Rembrandt not finally, but got some love with like this chocolate sister. It was like, yes. He pulls up and he's talking to her, and I guess like he told her like what the deal was, or that he had to leave or whatever. And so he's trying to say like these things like, if I could stay here with you, I would. And then he gets shocked and he says all these things. And her name is Angela. And what I like is that she says that she appreciates the effort that he's trying to put into making her feel better or whatever. But because it makes me wish we had more time in this world, where she's just like accepting of these like small lies, like if it was a big one, then she'd be like, okay, get out the car. Right. But it was just good to see him with someone, and it was really cool. So I also like the fact that when they got to this world, obviously everybody separated. Like Remy went somewhere, Wade went somewhere, and whatever. So, Remy sees, goes to the professor and Quinn and says, I'll be happy to leave this world, and they're just talking about the idea of having to tell the truth all the time. And so Wade shows up, and she's actually being followed by a reporter and a cameraman. And what she explained was that she went to like a art gallery opening, which once again, kind of tying into everybody's different personalities and their interests. Like she went off and did her own thing. But when she got to talking with the reporter got her to basically tell the entire story, or at least like a big part of the story about sliding. And apparently he's a reporter from Hard Copy. So they show up and the reporter and the cameraman shows up, they drive up, or they walk up, I can't remember, but Wade is like, what are we going to do? And, I think it's either Rembrandt or Quinn says, like, we're not going to be here for like a while, so they can watch if they want. So the reporter comes over, he's like, you must be the boy genius, Quinn Mallory, the professor, Wade, and then like crying man, Rembrandt Brown. And, it just makes me wonder, like, what did she tell him about? So, and he's just excited, and, they're like, this is bothersome. So then the portal opens up, and who's the first one in? The professor. Professor. And so he runs in. I think Remy, then Wade, and then, Quinn, I think he says, like, do you have anything to say? And he says, like, no comment. And as he runs through, this is the first time that I think I've seen somebody react this way. The reporter is excited. He's like, yes. And he's just like, it's probably like the biggest story of his career. So, so they slide through. And the next thing you see is after, they all land in this forest. And I think it's Wade who has cracked open this egg, if I remember right. And it's a big egg. It's like them Flintstone looking eggs, right? That Barney used to burst open and cook on the stove. And they land on the eggs in the middle of this forest. And so one thing that the professor mentions is that they don't hear it. First of all, you don't see San Francisco. You don't see a skyline. You don't hear people. You don't hear traffic in the distance. And this is one of the things that I love about this is what I love about these two seasons is the location of Vancouver, these different areas. And I'm always going to say this, you lose something when you move the production of this to LA, and I'll just leave it at that, because I really liked the setting for this, just the forest. So, the professor is, he's understanding, like, this is underdeveloped. There's no urban noise. There's no cityscape. And then they hear a growl, and it's a dinosaur. it's a dinosaur. And I think this is, they show the sliders running away, but you just see the dinosaur like kind of creeping along through the trees. You don't get the full reveal yet, but you see enough. And then this is when it cuts to the opening credits, opening credits. So, how are you feeling about the opening or the beginning?
The only big complaint I have is that we didn't see more of them separated, because I think when we have seen them before, it was stress. It was like Rembrandt becoming a ghost to his family of that world. It did, it was so stressed. This seems like they just had a really good time. Rembrandt got to kick it with a lady, and she not think he was crazy, and she's not about to kill herself. I was like, damn, it would have been nice to have seen him and her with even Wade at the art showcase. It's like, well, you're there and the news is there. In this particular world where you have to tell the truth, what does art look like when you cannot lie? Right. Art is really up to interpretation. And so I'm like, I would have loved to have seen that. So I don't know. That's my biggest drawback. I have Rembrandt with a healthy love interest. And I don't want to say the other chick wasn't, but like, come on, Lottery World. That's not the happy ending we're looking for. They split up. So for me, I'm not leaving. Whoever got the timer, I'm stuck to. I don't care. You could be in the next room, fucking 3 people. I'm putting plugs in my ears. And I'm probably be under that bed because I'm not letting you leave. You have the timer. So all right. But also I to your point, I do like the forest. And it feels like, I don't know if I'm gonna get this out right, but it feels like when you watch a show like this, and it's in the 90s or the early 2000s where it's clearly dated. And you don't have the same special effects that we have now. It's like this adult game of make-believe. And I absolutely, and I know that's just what acting is in general, but there's something very different about, like, when they broke that egg and then stood up and started walking before the intro popped up, like there was something familiar in the way that now they all are great actors. They acted well, but like that particular scene where it's like, they don't see a dinosaur. These are way at the youngest, she's probably like 25. Like, these are grown people, but there's something that felt so nostalgic. Well, I was just saying nostalgic for lack of a better word with this. And I think for me getting ahead, it carries over in this whole episode because a lot of the setting is just the mountains and the trees. And we have to rely on what they're saying to fill in like a horror movie. Like horror is more scary when you don't see the monster, when you have to fill in the blanks with your. And I think I'm talking through why I like this episode so much, but I was sold.
Yeah,
hey.
Well, I mean, it takes us back to like when we saw Jurassic Park, like in '93. You know, that was you imagine like once again the actors like looking up with like and that was a big thing for like special effects. I think the other thing here is that, and it's funny because like I watch The Mandalorian, and one of the big things that have technology wise that have come out of that is this thing they call it the volume. And what it is you go on this set and they might put like, let's say you're in the desert, so they have some rocks, they have like a cactus, they have different things, but around you it's this digital mock-up of the surrounding, and everybody uses that nowadays, right? So they had to, in this case, they're on it's not on set, but they're on location, right? And I think the only set that you have is the cave, right? Well, it's that. So it's like that's I think that's one of the big reasons why I like this episode so much is the setting, you know. So but like they definitely had to like look up, unless they had somebody with like a what do you call it, the tennis ball, just like reacting to that. So,
let me like, I think even yes, to your point, yes, that's hilarious. But even the crew, I know the cameramen ain't chasing them like Maury's cameramen, but like
that would be great.
Y'all are all there. Even that first shot of them running like at an angle, like the way man. Maybe I like this episode more than I realized. This is good.
Like I said, it just worked. So we I'm going to call it now the forest before so just not to reveal what the place actually is. So as they're running through the forest, I think they get to like this open stretch of like high grass or whatever. The professor falls, and he messes up his leg, pretty bad, or his ankle. I think it's his ankle or his leg. And so they pick him up, and they have to keep running because this dinosaur is like behind them, and you can hear him, but they haven't shown the dinosaur, I think, fully just yet. But you've seen enough to be like, okay, might be a T-Rex. So, but when he falls, he drops the timer. So they don't see that. They continue to run, but then they find a place to hide, and that's when this is when you get the full look at the dinosaur. And we're just going to say it's the special effects definitely are dated, but as with anything from previous 2010s, like you just gotta run with it. So you see the dinosaur, and I like the look of it, but it's big and it has teeth, so it doesn't see them, and it keeps moving. They're terrified. The dinosaur walks away, and so they use the opportunity to get away themselves. And Quinn and Remy are carrying the professor, and they're arguing about the felony for so they're still arguing about the collars, and apparently it would have been like a felony for them to have removed it back on the world. But one of the things that happens throughout this episode, and I'm not going to mention like every time it happens, but they continue to lie. Like as the just like, and it makes you kind of think of like like the kind of the innocent lies, and they are not like full on lies, but a lie is a lie is a lie. And I think the professor says something like, "Oh, we'll eventually get out of here," and then his his neck thing kind of buzzes and electrocutes him. But so that's when they also realize that the timer is missing. And I think like the professor asked like, which one of you had it, and they were like, "Professor, you had it, don't do that." And so they start to start to like kind of bicker a little bit, but they decide they have to find, like I said, they have to kind of get away, keep moving or whatever. So turn the page. So Wade goes to put Quinn. I think. Let me see if Quinn goes by himself. Wade goes to get some water for a compress. That's what it is. And I think that does somebody say with the professor at that point, or is it like Quinn steps away?
Wade does. I think Quinn leaves.
Quinn goes to look for the timer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Quinn, this is when they get separated. So, and Rembrandt, it stays with the professor. So when Wade goes to the river, the water to put some water on like this, like a shirt or something, that's when she sees the dinosaur pop back up. So she runs back to to the professor and Remy, and she's like, here's the dinosaur chasing us, and so they hear it or see it, and I think we like maybe I don't think this is the part where we see it from the dinosaur's vision, but they had noticed a cave earlier and decide to go. They climb the hill to the cave, so. And that's when we see the Dino Vision following the sliders. So the trio gets into the cave. The professor says Quinn will make it back. His neck, the thing kind of shakes or it like shocks him. And Wade is looking around, because she's, she kind of feels like something's up. And what she finds is a cache of like dinosaur eggs, tusk, some I think dinosaur hides, it's just like basically she says somebody's, and Rembrandt comes over and she says people have been here, there are people here. So with the cave again, they start to ask questions about how the dinosaurs are still there. So they're kind of trying to wondering like what this world is all about. And while they're discussing this, the dinosaur sticks his head through the top of the hole in the cave, and they start throwing rocks at it. That's actually, I kind of respect it. They're like, you know what, we're not going out without a fight. And so as they're throwing the rocks at this thing, you hear this woman yell out, "Stop! Do you want to hurt? Do you want to hit it in the eye? Do you want to hurt it?" And she explains that she is a National Dinosaur Reserve Ranger, and one thing I want to get is her name because I don't think we ever got it, which was weird. No, she's just referred to as the Ranger. So I'm just gonna call her the Ranger. So so she tells him that you're under arrest for poaching, and the dinosaur is a protected species. And she also mentions that they try to explain to her that they're lost. They're not who she thinks they are, but also that and then she responds with, well, they have a friend who's out there. They explain about Quinn, and then she's like, well, I saw the remains, and it was just like, damn. So
right, like
just like so, and so immediately they start getting worried. Wade, the professor, because I think he knows how Wade is going to react, and she starts to panic, and she goes outside, the front of the cave to call for Quinn. And Remy stops her from running away. He's like, we got to calm down. We got to figure this out. And the Ranger is still there, talking to the professor, and they come back in, and, she just doesn't believe, who they say they are. And, I don't know if this is the moment where he explains, I think this might be where he explains the thing about, sliding, but she's just upset because she says that, she thinks that they are a group of poachers or the poacher that they've been tracking for a while. So apparently she's sending a team to go and get them, to go and arrest them. And that's when the professor explains the idea of sliding. So, but one thing we notice is that when Rembrandt goes to, like, I don't know, like grab her arm or something, it goes through her or whatever. And so this is a real that she's a hologram, and she's actually speaking to them from the location where they're sending an arrest team. So we got a lot of stuff happening here. What do you think? Or
she sucks. No, this episode in particular feels like Power Rangers to me, and I don't want to be so on the nose like, oh, there's a dinosaur, but like there's something about, I don't know, maybe the physicality of just like being in this space and there's nothing here. But I mean, they've kind of done that before. I don't know, but this one in particular just feels like Power Rangers. Even I also go so far as to say the Power Ranger movie that is that the one when they became ninjas? No, that's the second one. But
That was the second one, I think.
Yeah, it just feels Power Rangers to me. The other thing, this white lady feels like I cannot find this woman for the life of me. What is the black woman, light skin from the 90s? I'm trying to think of what show she was in, but this woman feels like her to me. She had a big forehead, thin, tall. Fuck, and it's going to bother me. That's what I was trying to look up while you were kind of relaying the events. But the collar to me added something special to this episode, because I think if they didn't have the truth collar at all, if it was just like, oh, we're in a world where everyone has red hair and then came here, I don't know if this episode would have been as effective, because by itself it is good, the dinosaur stuff and everything we've gotten so far, but I think that collar being kind of sort of like a B plot almost to enhance the, because it's I don't know. I think when you don't have a lot to play off of, like you don't have the big military police after you or the virus that's going to kill you, or like when you don't have that, it's just you and a CGI dinosaur and you're bickering. I do think the collar did something good for this episode, even if it wasn't intentional. I wish just at everything we've seen so far. I know I've said this before, so it's going to be a broken record, but I wish this episode could have been a 2-part episode, because it just feels good. Rembrandt, I like getting rid of Quinn and focusing on these three, and then even taking out the professor's ability to walk. Like there's, I can't say that it is. Well, I can't say because I'm not hired by Sliders, but I can't say that all of this was intentional. But this feels like a perfect episode almost, because this is. Yeah,
I mean, it kind of like, so this, I'm glad you pointed out, especially with the professor, because we mentioned like Jerry O'Connell was gone for like 80% of this episode.
Yes.
But the two, whenever people talk about this show, or whenever you would see the advertising or the marketing or whatever, the two prominent people from that team were always Quinn and the professor. So for lack of a better way of thinking about this, you took out two of the more heavy-hitting characters of that team, or at least the way that they were promoted. You know, that Fox would promote this, or the show would write this often, because the plots that we would have would be, and I hate to put it like this, would be Quinn first, the professor, Wade, and then Remy, as far as like, kind of the focus of various episodes. So like I said, Quinn is gone and the professor is sitting down, like you said, for the majority of it. So you have to get more screen time from Wade and from Rembrandt. So that's I hate to say this, that's a plus in my book, because I love the team as a whole, but like it's very obvious where the focus would go sometimes because we've talked about episodes where like Rembrandt just says a sentence or something.
Yeah.
Or at least like in that first season, so or would be chastised by somebody for not being revolutionary. So anyways,
listen.
The other thing that I was thinking about was something kind of piggybacking on what you mentioned, was there isn't a large cast for this. It's the four of them, the Ranger, and I'm just going to say it, the Poacher.
Yeah.
Right. And then the dinosaur, right? But the Poacher, and I noticed the Poacher don't even have a name. They just call him the Poacher on IMDb. So that gives you that chance to like play more off of each other, rather than having to act with a bunch of people. For the majority. Now, we did have like the three people at the beginning, the reporter, the cameraman, and I think her name is Angela at the beginning, but they're there for like a couple of minutes, if that. So this is it's probably good, because they just had to work off of each other. So
it feels like a back to basics almost. Like I don't know, just feel, because even with the Ranger, she's a hologram. She's even limited at what she's able to do. And I just, maybe it's sci-fi that I love so much, and I'm realizing, but the limitations that you're putting on them are very practical. Like you have to do the CGI. Rembrandt touches her, but you do that one time. You establish that, we know why they'll never touch her, why she doesn't lift anything. And something about her that really pissed me off. I have to say,
yeah.
You first of all, you've been tracking these people for months. I know it ain't our people, but you've been tracking these people for months. You don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
You are a hologram who can go any and everywhere, and you called the police on us. You did all this work, but you so heartless. It's like, yeah, your friend is dead. Where's his body? Who knows? Fuck him and fuck you. It's like, lady, like you can't even. Do you like? I'm going to be very extreme. If you saw somebody get hit by a bus,
yeah,
and they were the exact opposite of your political leanings,
yeah,
I feel like no matter where you fall, you could be like, damn, they got hit by a bus. It's not, and I'm not even talking about, they're wearing a certain shirt or a certain hat.
Yeah.
I'm saying quite literally somebody got hit by a bus, and then you find out they have a different political ideology. But when they got hit by that bus, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
This lady was just like, fuck all of you. Like, you can't see that they're in distress. Like,
it's funny because it's that whole thing of like, I need people something to read the room.
Yeah.
Because obviously they don't look like no hardcore poachers. They are sitting, first of all, the demographics are different. So normally if you're doing some like hood shit, you're not doing it with like the multi-ethnic gang.
United Colors of Benetton. Yeah.
Exactly. From like the Fast and the Furious or some shit like that, right? Like I love the diversity, but more than likely you're not going to have like two middle-aged people, a black guy and an older guy whose leg is broken, and this like 25-year-old woman. Like unless poaching works differently, I don't know.
Yeah.
But she was so, like you said, she was so hyped up, where there was one of the things I was going to mention was she said something to the effect of like, fuck you humans, it's all about these dinosaurs.
Right.
And it was like, and I can kind of respect it because like I know people that are that into animals or like whatever, but she was just like, she was done. I would love to see that episode where she had been tracking them for months, and she was like, these motherfuckers ain't in the world for killing. Like, we got all this technology and I can't even see these two poachers. So yeah, that's why she was done. She was like, yeah, your boy got shredded. I love
it. You know what? That's fair. I'm still mad at her, but I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. It was a bit, but no, she was like, yeah, she should have read the room. It was like, these are not the droids you seek. I'm sorry, Star Wars reference, but or whatever. But so we go back and Remy says he's gonna go look for Quinn, and the professor, I think that's what they do. They set up a plan. And it's funny because they kind of laughing at the Ranger as she just watches them, and and I thought it was a nice moment because they were trying to keep their spirits up, but like the professor was like, I can't move, but let me help, like let's calm down and get a plan going. And then like, also we the sliders, we all we got, that's like New Jack City. Call it cash money, but I'm sorry, not cash money, but so we go out to the park for a brief moment. We see Remy go out and at night, and he's just looking around. We go back to the cave, and the Ranger it's funny because now she's checking on the professor to see if he's okay. And, Wade goes to get some firewood. And the professor, they talking with Wade, and they're worried about Quinn. And this isn't the moment where he tells the story, but they're just worried. So nothing major happens. They go back to the park. Remy here's a dinosaur walking around, and I don't know if this is where he doesn't get chased just yet here. And then we go back to the cave. Wade is talking about the world without. So he was talking about some of the worlds they've been to, and one of the worlds that they went to, like once again in the gutters, they went to a world without clothes. Where, and now actually now that I think about it, I think it's calling back to where they saw the mailman.
Yeah, okay, that's I was gonna say.
So she is calling back to a world that we visited for like a couple minutes, but that's cool. They decided to try to do more of that. And Wade she admits to having a crush on him. But now she admits to like just kind of she just loves him, you know, like and it sounds like as a friend, but not like on no like crush. He's like, you ain't having it, you ain't having it. Okay,
Yeah.
so then you know, the professor tells a story about, you know, teaching Quinn and how, you know, Quinn, you know, when he was, you know, this young upstart of a scientist or whatever, scientific mind, he got an answer correct, and the professor was just like days, you know, the days later, he was like, oh, he was correct. And but one of the things that he mentioned, I thought was sweet, was the amount of joy that a educator feels when their student has figured it out, you know, shows that they're, you know, kind of moving along or whatever. So it was just a nice moment of them reminiscing. So we go back outside. Rembrandt is still looking for Quinn, and this is when you get that iconic shot of the dinosaur like right behind him. And at that point, the brother runs. So so they hear what is we come back to the cave and you hear gunshots. So they're worried. They're like, oh, well, I don't know who has a gun. Maybe the dinosaur. Maybe that's how things are on this world. The dinosaurs carry. It's an American dinosaur. It's an American dinosaur. It's your right to carry, right? No matter. So the Remy, you know, so they go back to outside. I think Remy catches up with Remy, and Rembrandt's like, you know, get your ass back inside the cave. And then, you know, they go back inside the cave. And he said dinosaur chase and that. And so when the two of them get back inside, and I just thought about this. This is a fast moving episode.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like they ain't wasting no time, because as soon as they get back into the cave, you see the poacher, who doesn't have a name. I don't know why they didn't give these people names. It's just weird. But the poacher is there with a gun, and the professor, you know, he's still sitting down. So the guy's not holding the gun on the professor, but he's just there, right? And the ranger looks, you know, concerned or whatever. And so we have this break. And because there's a lot that happens after this, let me get your thoughts leading up to this, especially about the Way talking about how she had a crush on.
Way, shut up. Then I was just like, girl, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, I get it in the context of the show where we're remembering Quinn. Oh, maybe he's dead, you know, would walk down memory lane. But I was like, this by itself was great, but this in the context of all of these mismatched will they, won't they, as sometimes they're friends, sometimes they're lovers, that it's never been done well in this, which is so weird, because this is the 90s. This is an attractive white man and an attractive white woman. It don't take much to make this work, and it's like y'all are constantly fucking it up. So that, whether she meant friend, lover, whatever, I don't care about how she loves it. I'm like, that, you know, just gonna love him, you know. Okay, Becky Tanner, who cares? I did not care about that, but it didn't pull me out of the episode. But I was just like, man, y'all do this shit. Y'all are so haphazard with your love story. Like the fact that all these other women keep popping up, and other men too, who like then take you for this whirlwind love affair for like 43 minutes, and then you kill them off. Y'all may not need to be together no way.
Or they just walk off into the world,
which is just like you dropping people off in worlds they've never. This is so irresponsible.
I'm surprised you haven't talked about Michelle yet.
Fuck all of them, and I'm sick of her too. Ain't she dead yet?
No, we don't know. It was another. I'm surprised that when we started this recap, you didn't go in about Michelle not being there.
See, the thing is, this episode is done so well
that
I honestly forgot about her.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I would have been laying up late at night after this went up and be like, what the fuck? Like, you know, because it's so they have at this point. What is the body count? Because I'm considering these people dead.
It's 4.
Couple. Michelle and the dude
Ryan. Yeah, it's 4 of them. They've taken 4 people in the van. So maybe
there we go. Not including the people they've actually gotten killed, but it's just like I don't know. The show is just weird. This is like a dark comedy. I love, like, something about this episode feels like a Nautica jacket commercial. It feels like Power Rangers. It feels like entertainment companies like Diversity Video. And then it's like, it's just so good. I think I like this episode more than I realized.
Yeah,
hologram lady. It's still fuck her. I don't care. Fuck her.
Yeah.
The poacher dude, I did. Wait, he showed up. Yeah, he did. I like him because I feel like he. Well, I don't want to get too, but what he tells them, to me, he's the most real character on this episode. And I know she's a hologram, so she's not real. No, I mean, like, but out of the people we get, you know how you'll write like a Killmonger, like it's like, oh, Killmonger was right, you know, he said such and such, or even like Remick from Sinners. Go see Sinners, y'all, because I think it's made like what 26 million or no 260 million. Whatever. It's made
200 domestically. It's made over 200 million, and internationally, I can pull up some stats.
Yeah, because I remember seeing the stats, and I was like, internationally, what the fuck wrong with y'all? The bulk of this is here. You motherfuckers need to go see it in your native language or native. Go see it in your native language. Who the heck? I am an American. See it in your native language. What? What is wrong with me?
And that's how stumbling across the multiverse lost.
What is see it in your native language?
A sizable demographic, a sizable portion of its listeners. Nice. So domestic 214 million, let's just say 215 million. Internationally 69 million, and world. So combined they're at $284 million.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know, and the funny thing is I think they're going to give it like maybe like 2 or 3 more weeks at the box office, and then this thing is going to video on demand because
I can't wait.
They're going to have watch parties. People got to be watching parties. People who have already seen it and who haven't seen it, they're going to like run them numbers up. And then streaming maybe like later on in the year, but no, video on demand is about to be like they're going to charge us $20 out the ass.
And I'm going to pay it too. I'm going to pay. And I'm convinced that Ryan Coogler is going to give us a director's cut, some behind the scenes commentary. There's no way in that 10-minute Fujifilm ass video he did, that's going to be one of the DVD Blu-ray features. I can't wait. What I'm saying is Sinners is in the same universe. But no, something about this episode feels so nostalgic, like it's hitting so many key points, aesthetically, visually, the acting, and the poacher himself feels so much like a well-rounded character where even when he pulled a gun on them, I'm like, I get it. Like if I'm putting myself in his shoes, motherfucker, I've been out here. Y'all come through fucking my shit up. You gon' Nino Brown, this is New Jack City. You gonna do what I say. So I'm.
He said, "You better carry this shit." He said, "You better carry this shit." He said, "She ain't seen my face." She said that hologram had not seen my face for like 16 months.
We was right, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
It's like it was. Maybe it wasn't that long, but it was a minute, and
it wasn't 2 months. At the very least, it was 6. At the least, there's no way.
Yeah. And like him and his now deceased friend.
That's what like his friend is dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I would like to revisit this world just to see what is the black market rate for the shit that he like
that they taken. Yeah. Yep. It was crazy. Yeah. But so then we got we're just going to call him the poacher, telling them to, and it's funny because when you come back from like the commercial break, he's telling them how to properly put a splint on the professor's leg, right? So, and I don't want to say like he has this like New Yorker voice, but he has this like, hey, you got to put the splint on his leg like this, and he reminds me of like a villain from like a Goonies type of movie, like where you had these sadistic motherfuckers who were going to like kill these kids, right?
Yeah.
It's a kid's adventure, right? I mean, it's like Ma Petrelli and her 2 boys trying to kill these kids. And that's what he reminds me of. Like one of the 80s were wild, man. So he explains what happened. that they were tracking some velociraptors, and his partner got killed. So those, so this is a suggestion at this point that those are the remains that the ranger was talking shit about. She was just like, motherfucking man. So they he gives them a deal, and then he doesn't even ask no questions. Like, that's the other thing. Like, I don't think he asked him, like, how'd y'all get here?
No.
Like, he's just like, you know what? Y'all here. I need to get this product out. And he's like, if you help me move these items out, I can help you, because he's like, I have a way in and out of here. So this is, I will help y'all get out. And he's like, I got dino organs, I got hides, I got body parts. And so what he explains, so what the ranger says is like, he explains, I sell this, and it's used for cancer research. It's used for this. It's used for that. All this good stuff. And the ranger was like, I call it bullshit. No, he's like aphrodisiacs. And what I love is that you're drawing these parallels between what you have in our world with poachers, like the whole thing with like ground rhino horns, or basically what you can get from these endangered species, for the selfishness or the benefit of humans. But on the flip side of this, he's saying, maybe they use these parts for for medical research. You don't know. But the vibe that I'm getting for this dude, and that what he says is like, shit, if I make some money, I'm gonna do it. And so I'm like, okay, he's skeevy. He is probably just killing these things for some, not for the benefit of humanity. So the ranger is like, he's just trying to make a profit. She's upset. And then he pulls out a device and he jams her hologram signal. So she disappears. And he says, I think he reiterates his deal, to them, and they go and talk. It's Remy, the professor, and Wade. And, they're calling it like they're calling it like they see it. Like they don't think they can trust him, which is understandable. So Wade decides that the other thing is I think they start lying again, and then I think it's the professor or Wade, and they get shocked, and then the poacher's like, what the hell is that? And it was just like, yo, dude. And they're trying to and he tells them, like, that happens, and he tells them, like, let's get some sleep. And so that's when apparently Wade volunteers to go talk to the guy with the gun, and says, I'll go and let him down, easy. And she's like, we're gonna pass on your deal. We got our friend is here. We're still waiting for him to get back, and it makes sense to me. Like, if she's not outright saying like, we don't trust your chosen line of your profession, it's just like, hey, if you want to sell crack, you can. No, it's like, it's like she's like, they're not saying like, she's just like, reasonable, trying to be reasonable. And then he gets unreasonable, and he says, because the ranger has seen my face, you owe me. So, hey, I got this gun. And he says, when I go to sleep, I got a hair trigger. Yes. And I will, like, I don't care. I will shoot him in the leg after I told y'all to fix it. Let's go. So so then she backs up and she's like, well, I guess I wasn't the voice of reason, because he still wants to murder. And so they look at him and like, they just go to sleep. And it's just like, everything's just getting worse. So at night, later on, I guess late as he's sleeping, the professor. And it's funny because like the professor is, he's talking about a world where they have holograms. Like the technology is such that where you can like send an image of a person, to to like somewhere miles away, apparently like a 2-day trip away. And one of the things also, I'm sorry, that I forgot to mention was the poacher did mention that the ranger had the ability to call a helicopter to come and pick them up. So that kind of sows further kind of discord between the sliders and the ranger. There, so when the guy shuts her off, they're like, well, shit, she wasn't trying to help us anyway. So that goes back. So Wade decides to go and get the hologram jammer because now they need the ranger and from the poacher. And when she gets the device, it doesn't work. So when when they're not able to bring the Ranger back, Wade is like, screw it, I'm going out to look for Quinn. And the professor tries to argue with her, and she says, "Don't wake the poacher," and then she just walks out, which I actually kind of appreciate. So anyway, so that because we're getting to the end game now. What's any thoughts about the introduction of the coolest one of the coolest bad guys with no name?
I think the Ranger has a problem. I did not like the way she said Chinese. When she was like, "No, you're gonna tell that to the Chinese so that they can make an aphrodisiac." I was like, "Girl, why did you say Chinese like that?" I was like, "I don't know. Maybe somebody from China, broke her heart." But I did not like the way she said that. Fuck her, bro. I'm sick of that lady. The poacher is fucking hilarious because he keep flip flopping from like, here's some antibiotics to like, fuck you and your mama. Then it's like, oh, are you hungry? Have some pancakes. And also your kid is ugly. It's like, what are you right. What is happening? He was so fun. Oh my God. I really, really liked him. But what I didn't understand is why didn't they just kill him? And I mean that wholehearted. I'm not even being like, oh, I'm an American, we shoot everything. No, I'm just like, y'all are literally here and no one else is getting in here. Like, you have a ticking time clock because you got the police that's coming. But like right now, for like at least the next day, if you kill this man, as long as you find Quinn to get that timer, so what? Like, you're good to go. And I mean, I don't think they should have killed him, but I'm like, this man is threatening you with a gun, and he's like, I just feel like they didn't weigh their options well enough. Because even Wade talking to him like, "Oh, we're going to stay." I was like, man, what the fuck are you talking about? You should have said yes, let's do it. Because you're not leaving right now. Like, I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, we down. Like, it's whatever. There's two of y'all against him. Rembrandt can take him. Without that gun, I think Rembrandt would have easily. Well, I don't know. He a poacher. He been surviving. He was out for like 60 months. So, but I was like, this man is fucking hilarious. He is all over the damn place. But he's like the evil, not the evil but kind of sort of, because at the very least, I will say I think his offer was more attractive. Because like you said, the lady, her hateful ass, she didn't even mention a helicopter.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking they didn't think this through, because it's like, okay, y'all in here, she's sending the police. If it's a big deal that y'all are even here, how are the police going to get in and not do what apparently she's claiming? Y'all, I said, to me, I'm like, send them. I don't give a fuck. What it is, what it is. Like, as long as we get that timer, what the fuck you gonna do? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think they should just kill everybody. Turn that scrambler on.
I love this. How that's your solution.
I mean,
hey, that'd be like. I definitely think that it's funny because, like, apparently of the group, Rembrandt got them hands, right?
Yes.
I think, like, in order, it's Rembrandt, the professor, Wade, and then Quinn.
Which is crazy.
Yes, because Quinn is like the tallest, most like, but they steady have him. There were 2 episodes back to back where he was getting his ass, or maybe just repeatedly in the same episode. But Rembrandt. Yeah, Rembrandt got the hands, like, just ever since that courtroom scene.
Yeah,
yes, right. So yeah, that would have been great. Like, they just beat him down, like, once again, like the X-Men. And they just like stomping his ass. So,
yes, shit.
Yeah. So we go back to the cave. And actually, no, at this point, the Wade is looking for Quinn. And she doesn't find him, but the poacher does. The poacher finds her, and he's like, you're going to get killed or whatever. And that's when the dinosaur shows up. And they do this, like, the dinosaur vision, like, looking down at the poacher and Wade. And then Quinn comes out of left field. He just goes running, and he grabs Wade. And so the poacher... and then he stands back, and so I think they start running away. But, like, you still in the vision of the from the dinosaur, you see the poacher. I don't know if it's like I don't know what kind of gun this is. It's like it ain't a regular rifle or whatever. It's like because he's shooting some like big rounds at the dinosaur. And actually, by this point, I'm sorry, like it's an Allosaurus for all the dinosaur geeks and fan people. It's an Allosaurus. It's not a T-Rex. I should have said that earlier because I think the ranger corrects them. So anyway, so he shows up, shoots the first round. I don't know if he just doesn't have any more rounds in his gun. Either way, he gets killed. And Quinn and Wade watch him get killed from a distance, and then they run back up to the cave. So that's basically how the poacher goes out. This is once again the pace of this episode is insane because like when you say grand opening, grand closing,
yes.
That's basically what it is. So we don't see him die, but like he gets eaten. So they get back to the cave. Quinn says that he had been hiding. I can't remember exactly where he said that he had been hiding, but he's able to actually help them take off their collars. And he wasn't able to get to the timer. But Remy, so they start trying to figure out like a plan or something. And Remy is looking through the supplies, and he's, and he says, I think it's kind of ghoulish going through a dead man's stuff. And it's just like, okay, well, whatever. Yeah. So they find like a bottle of like dinosaur repellent and it's something else or whatever. And, when you smell it, it smells bad or whatever. So like I said, plan is building up. So then the ranger shows up and says that she couldn't get the helicopter, but she did see the timer. She says that she found where the timer was. And so what she says, and I don't know how time works on this world, but she
yo,
we're going to get to why I'm saying this, but she says there's an hour and a half, right? So on the timer. And so the plan that they decide, they find a flare gun in this guy's pack, in this bag. And so I don't know if it's, I think Wade is the one that comes up with the plan, right? Or no? Okay, so they take a rope and toss it. I think it's like a grappling hook, onto the hole in the top of the cave. The rock. So she climbs up, and she takes a flare gun, and Quinn and the hologram go down to the ranger leads Quinn to the timer. Remy is watching from the cave. The entrance to the cave, and Professor every 2 seconds is like, what's happening, and Wade shoots a flare, and they said like you got to shoot it like past the eye line of the Allosaurus so that she could be distracted. And when Quinn gets to the timer, he's like, it's 2 minutes. It's like 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes,
bro.
And that's why I'm like, does time work differently? Because I don't want to say this woman can't tell time, but I don't know. Maybe she was like looking at it like floating in the air at a different angle. But I don't see how you mix up an hour and a half with like maybe 5 minutes when she was there. Like, so anyways, so it's like 2 minutes. So like now, because once again, this is Act 3, you got to have them rush, right? You got to have them rush. It happens every episode. Now I will say Act 3 completely didn't feel rushed, but this did because she couldn't tell time. So they got 2 minutes to slide. The ranger goes back to the cave to tell the others to leave. And I would have been like, wait, I thought you said we had an hour and a half.
Man.
What did you say? And then like that's what she said. She's like, y'all need to go. And so the Remy helps the professor. Wade, I think, is following them, and she has a dinosaur repellent. And so what she does is as she's following the two of them, Quinn kind of meets them halfway and tells them like, we got to go. And so Wade slams the repellent onto a tree, and like you see it from like the dinosaur's vision or whatever, but she sees the dinosaurs, kind of smells that, and it gives them a little bit more of a head start. I mean, to like just more time to run. And the professor, Remy go through. and Quinn is looking for Wade, and then Wade finally shows up, and then she goes through, and so Quinn is standing there, and then sees the dinosaur, and then he has his reaction, and then he jumps through. But the thing that I love is that the hologram, the ranger.
Thank you.
Like, why did she disappear? Like, she's like, the thing is not going to attack you, and then she just disappears. And I like the effect because you get to see her actually disappear. But when I think about it, it was like, you're going to be okay. Like, maybe you could have been a distraction.
Hello.
And it was like, as soon as
I hate her.
I
hate her.
As soon as they were gone, and she didn't have no reaction to the sliding portal or whatever, like, it was nothing. So, anyways, that's not the end. So we cut to the next world. I'm just gonna call it paleontology world, because what you see is and I want to say that this, and he may just be an actor, but you see this excavation site, and these paleontologists are digging up the actual bones of an Allosaurus, and he says, "Oh, this is the first intact Allosaurus skeleton that I've ever seen on our world," or whatever. And so the sliders slide through right into the middle of the excavation site, and then Quinn slides through, and I think he does he fall on the bones or whatever?
Yeah, and he don't hurt him, but then
he doesn't hurt him, right? So then when he stands, they're happy and they're talking back and forth, and then he steps on the bone. He breaks the bone, and it's this like weird comedic beat where the sliders are looking at him. What is it? You look at him, you look at me. That type. And then they look at the paleontologist is like pissed off, and then it just cuts. The show goes off with Quinn like, "Why did I do that?" And then they show the credits. So, yeah, so that's how the episode ends. Episode 7. So it's like, what were we thoughts about the insanity that
bullshit? Quinn, fuck him. Where the fuck was you at? Get the hell away from her, you son of a bitch. First of all, this is a fucking dinosaur. Put them damn rocks down.
Right, he was throwing rocks. Yeah.
I was like, boy, get your dumb ass out of here, Mr. What is it called? What's the trope called? Unstoppable White Man, where it's like Bruce Willis in Die Hard, where it's just this regular white man who's just like super powered. Like, I was like, bro, get your dumb ass out of here. I have a theory.
It's Impossible White Man.
There we go, Impossible White Man. I have a theory that the park ranger is actually a 5-year-old, and that makes everything make so much more sense. Like, there's no way, because one, she can't tell time. Two, she can't read a room. She throws these tantrums. If you can't find people who have been, like, some kind of way, her mind was swapped with like a 30-year-old version of herself. Like, there's no way. No, what is it?
Like Freaky Friday.
But DC Shazam. It's like, but you're a child. You're not a real grown woman. You're a kid. There's no way that she's grown. Because also, did you just want them to die? Because again, I don't care if you said it already. Why did she disappear as soon as the dinosaur showed up? Like, you could have ran around so that they don't go after Quinn. You disappeared immediately, and you can't tell time. That is a first grader. There's no way. I don't even think anybody was coming. I think that's just some smart woman who is a child. Because also, what is this hologram? What is it tied to? I know it's sci-fi. Yeah. Anything is possible. But like, you were just hopping around. Like, there's no, like, what is the thing that links you to this park? Like, I know you're a liar. This is a 5-year-old ghost. The professor, why did he throw his stick? I said, what? Your ankle is still broke. It's not healed by the jump. Your ankle, like, why would you throw the stick? Don't know.
That's that miracle water, man. It's the miracle sliding portal.
Well, he still needed help when y'all got to the new world.
Yeah.
When Ross Geller was fucking dusting off that damn Allosaurus. This whole thing, I said that this ranger is a child. That's my whole takeaway from this. There's no way that is a grown woman. Through his stick. Let me see, what is this? The Ranger is a depressed child. Yeah, like there's no. This was fun, and I liked all of it.
Yeah.
I even liked the. You can like put the professor and Rembrandt together, and it makes sense. But sometimes it feels like the last world? Yeah, LC, where they were just like walking together. It was like, yeah, man, we're the adults. Like it was like they had meaningful conversation, but in that world, it was just like we're on the street walking. With them being in that cave together, even that just felt like, all right, this makes everything about this episode fits. And I think out of all the previous episodes, this is one that I would not have mind having a longer run in, because you don't have the distractions. You don't have the distractions of other things and people. And if I take a step back, I think because this episode is mainly in nature, it probably aged better than other episodes. And then even their clothing is pretty plain, and it's something that you would see people wear now. Everybody wears those coats in the wintertime, and even like the gun, like he got the Indiana Jones hat, but like for the most part, I think this episode, minus the beginning when Angela had them shoulder pads, it really aged well. There's not a lot that I feel like you could redo this show beat from beat today, and it would still be phenomenal. All in all, the Ranger, fuck her. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot more to say. It was just damn good. It was fun. This was a fun, thrilling, dramatic. This was a show. This episode, I think, was really a not love letter. I wouldn't say that, but if you've been watching the show so far and not just tuned in one day and it was on, and then you got to this point, I think this is one of the better episodes, and has the most payoff. So I'll end it there.
It was a nice way forward. Like I said, I guess final thoughts. It is good episode. Good episode. Like we said this before about other episodes. We love the pacing. Yeah, I love the pacing of this. I didn't feel like any time was wasted. I think, like I said, the only critique I could think of, like as far as maybe the pacing, was it's always this mad rush, to the portal. And so that's not even a critique. That's just kind of how it is. Just how it is. But sometimes it's handled better and not as sloppily as it has been in other episodes.
Yeah.
But I liked it, and anytime you get like a kind of a dinosaur related adventure is always fun. And people apparently still love them, because those Jurassic Park movies, they are still coming out. I think the next one has Mahershala Ali.
I'll be seeing that.
Yeah. He was like, y'all can't make up your mind about Blade. Okay, I'll go fight some CG dinosaurs.
Hey,
vampire dinosaurs.
Hey,
but So let's the superlatives. Who's your favorite and least favorite character?
Favorite character, definitely the poacher.
Yeah,
hands down, poacher. Great guy, phenomenal guy. Would love to have dinner with him. Great, he was great. Yes, my least favorite, that 5-year-old child.
It's the Ranger.
It got and even that is only because there's not a lot of people in the episode. Like I could be like, oh, the news anchor. No. They don't come. But I'd have to say her. But even with her, I still loved her, even though I hated her. So yeah.
Yep. My favorite is, I'm just going to double up, the poacher.
Yes.
The poacher was fun. And once again, because we're starting to get better antagonists, so like I will say that. So that was cool. As far as the least favorite, I'm just being honest with you. Even with her goofiness, I like the Ranger as being like the foil against there was some crazy
yeah.
but I did like her. So I don't. This is like an episode where I don't really have a person that I don't
That's
at least
fair.
pick a character.
That's fair.
Yeah. So like favorite moment, least favorite moment.
That's difficult. That's difficult. For favorite moment, I'll probably put when the poacher showed up and they all had. It was just like all these people in the cave with conflicting like motivations, just going at each other. Like him talking shit about them talking about, okay, I'm trying to get out, and her like, oh no, he's terrible. And we've been looking for you. Like that whole scene was just such confusion. It was so good. So I have to say that was my favorite. So I guess the like collective meeting scene. Least favorite, man, even the least favorite stuff was just funny as hell. Honestly, my least favorite part of the whole episode was Quinn stepping on that damn bone. I was like, we went through all this shit, and this how we ended.
Weird comedic beats, like they,
very weird when, especially because we just came off of an episode where we visited the same world twice, and I know this isn't the same world, but it's directly tying into the world we were in before, and the professor said, which this holds no weight, that sliding isn't time travel. So I didn't particularly care for that, but I don't mind it. The only thing that pissed me off is that I know we're not going to be in that world next episode. I just know we're not. So I'm gonna stick with that. With Quinn stepping on that that was my least favorite because the rest of this shit was fun.
It reminds me of like after they went to the king is back or whatever, the Browns. And so at the end of it, they slid to it. He was like, you know what? Maybe the next world will be great. Maybe this and that. And then they are selling the name of the company they're selling ice cream for is called the King. So like it's like this thing of this kind of weird joke, kind of referencing the previous world. And I think it's just kind of the goofy humor that you would have in it sometimes. But I guess my favorite moment was I liked. So I'm only going to double up because I didn't have a least favorite. So one favorite moment was Rembrandt in the car after finding some love, and slash the conversation that Wade and I don't know about like so much Wade's side of the conversation, but more the professor, where the professor was talking about being proud of Quinn. So, so those kind of look to like hold that space, for the favorite moment. The least favorite moment, I'm going to double up. I'm going to double up with you and say the ending because it's like I think that I love the humor at times on the show, and I feel that you could. I didn't like that ending. I didn't like that the whole thing of, this is like it's a joke, referencing the previous world, so it was what it was. And then like him being like, oh, where, they cut away and he has this goofy look on his face, right before the credits. So those are your favorite moments and least favorite moments. So on a scale of cracked Allosaurus eggs out of 10, what are you going to rate it?
9.3. Okay. 9.3. This motherfucking episode, and that's mainly because of the ending and because of the poacher being killed. That's because I was like, man, y'all could have saved him. Just get him back to the cave. But yeah, I didn't think I was gonna rate this high. 9.3. I'm standing by that.
Gotcha.
This was good.
I'll give it a 9.
There we go.
Yeah, give it a 9.
We go.
So, it's looking somewhat better.
Yeah,
this season because I'm still like when I saw a 4 on here, I was like, God. And that was from you for the first episode.
Hey.
And I gave it a 6, and it kind of got a little better, but then like episode 4 went back down, and then it's been this back and forth thing with this season, man.
Yeah, well, they need to get this shit together. I need quality for episode. What is it? Eight. Yeah, they need to give us quality, or I'm gonna throw something. That shit. Ugh, this was good.
Yeah.
Damn, this was good.
Good episode. I think. One thing I will say, I'm gonna give a shout out to. Now, it's a documentary that I don't want you to watch yet, right?
Okay.
Because it's gonna ruin something for you. But there was a on YouTube. It was a documentary that was made by the station or the channel is okay. So it's called Secret Galaxy, and that's the name of the page or whatever.
Okay.
The YouTuber, and the name of the documentary is called "The Very Messy History of Sliders." The Very Messy History of Sliders. So the reason I don't want Rain to watch this is because it'll spoil certain things that happen in future seasons, but also I think that's the biggest thing. I think I mentioned to you before that it gets messy without giving details.
Right.
But they do on Secret Galaxy on this episode. He does a really good job of breaking the stuff down.
Okay.
And it's not too long, and it's funny because like everything that he mentioned as a slider devotee, I was like, yep,
Yeah.
all that stuff. So really on point, worth checking out. If there's any like new sliders material to check out, I will let y'all know. But yeah, that apparently YouTube knows me because that popped up as a suggestion.
Tell me, if I were to just look at it to get the link, would that spoil me? Because I want to link it in the show notes for this episode.
Well, I can send you the link.
Okay, good. So it'll be in the show notes, y'all, for y'all to look at. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. Actually, no, and I'm sorry, a friend sent it to me. It was a friend who who knows I'm obsessed with the with the show. So, but shout out to Dan. Dan, thank you for that.
Shout out to you, Dan.
Yeah, but that's all the sliders news. No multiverse news. No shows. Nothing coming up.
Man.
Yeah. It was a good episode.
Damn good, bro. I'm scared to even watch the next one. I know it's gonna be some bullshit. I don't know, something racially insensitive or something woke.
We may be surprised because we came off of episode 6, which we both gave a 6. So the fact that we went from a 6 to a 9,
I
will say one thing: like people watching us recap the shows, y'all will never say that y'all rate this too hard or y'all rate this too great. Like no, this is like a roller coaster. This is like at a bootleg at a bootleg carnival.
No, for real.
That pops up in the grocery store parking lot.
Bro, yes. Oh God. Yeah, this is a lot. I think I'm going to watch the next episode twice as well.
Okay.
I think because I'm hoping that I didn't rate this well because I got to sit with it longer. I think it was just good, but the next one I'm gonna try to watch more than once. Then I'll probably go back.
If something was horrible and you sit with it longer, then it becomes more
even more.
So I think you.
Yeah, you're right. So I'm definitely gonna check that out because I'm ready, man. All of this feels like when somebody suggests an anime and it's like wait till like the 5th season and it gets great. It's like it didn't take long, but this was damn good. So yeah, man. I don't know. What else you got, or do you got anything? I don't know.
Nothing right now. Nothing to talk about right now.
Right.
And believe me, like when something comes up, I will let y'all know. But just I keep coming back and watch these recaps or listen to the recaps.
Absolutely, y'all. So and I mean, let these folks know where they can find you and support you, of course.
That would help. So RobertKJeffrey.com, RobertKJeffrey.com. That's my website. Bluesky, because I'm trying to do better with my life. I am at RJ Ryder rjwriter.bsky.social. That is rjwriter.bsky.social. And my Instagram handle is right, next to my name there, robertk.jeffrey. So any of those places.
Yes, indeed. And those places will be in the show notes, y'all. So go ahead and click the description and follow. Also check out Steam Heroes. That's also linked in the episode, and keep on checking that out and all the other work. Me, I am find me everywhere. I'm still kind of on Twitter sometimes, a little bit. Carefree Blurred on TikTok. I do spend a lot of time there. CarefreeBlackNerd on YouTube and Instagram. I ain't really on Instagram as much, trying to increase my visibility there. I am currently in the middle or the tail end of releasing a book. I don't think I've discussed it on this podcast, but that's where a lot of my social media is a little bit limited now, but that'll be out and I'll link that. It's not sci-fi. That ain't no Steam superhero. It ain't no Steam hero.
Do not downplay it, dude.
Oh,
this is a major ass accomplishment.
Oh, it was this guy. Well, so that's where my social media is a bit limited now, but of course, find me there, and of course, come back here and find us and look at us and listen to us and join in on the conversation. Use STTM pod, and I don't know, man, just tell us how much you like this, because if you didn't like this episode, you're actually a liar. You're actually wrong. So that's factually incorrect.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. We thank y'all for following us this far, and stay with us until we rocket till the wheels fall off, and stay carefree, stay nerdy, stay geeky, and I don't know if you find yourself in a world with a broken dinosaur egg, just tell everybody, because clearly the helicopter's not coming. I don't know. Well, all right, y'all. Don't kill though. Really don't.